Kia ora everyone, welcome to Creative Mornings, and this is our last session of the year. So we're not having a December event, just as a FYI. Our next event will be in January, so don't worry, we are coming back.
Good.
So tēnā koutou katoa, tuarua ki ngā mate, haere atu rā. E mihi ana te mana whenua o ngā te tō me taranaki whānui, kia tātou e tau nei. Kia ora. Tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Creative Mornings. This month's global theme is rhythm, and today we've got the wonderful Marcus Jackson, who will be introing his piece and then also taking us through a little bit of an interactive performance today. So we'll get more to that a little bit later. But first up, I wanted to introduce our new co-host for the Wellington chapter, Melinda. So I'll let Melinda introduce herself briefly, and then we'll jump back in this.
Thanks, Christine. I'm Melinda, as Christine said. Really excited to jump in and kind of get stuck in making Wellington chapter the greatest of the Creative Mornings. Yeah, if you haven't had a chat with me yet and would like to get to know me more, please come say hi. And if you want to get involved with Creative Mornings, we are always welcoming new volunteers, so let us know. Thanks.
Yay! And this also means you won't get sick of me.
Whoa! No, not possible.
No.
Yeah.
And so our rhythm global theme this month was chosen, I believe, by our Budapest chapter. So I'm just going to read you out the wee description because it's quite beautiful. What rhythm sets your pace? A celestial rhythm is pulsing all around us. The earth spins, the sun rises and sets. The moon pulls and releases the tides twice every day. The seasons loop each year, natural, constant patterns of back and forth. But we also live amidst the unnatural rhythms of flickering fluorescent lights, pinging notifications, and vehicles idling at traffic signals. Rhythm can light you up or burn you out. Rhythm is the heartbeat of creativity. It provides the structure we crave, a framework for ideas to take shape. By recognizing patterns and breaking them, we can find our unique voice. How do you keep your own beat? Listen to your breath and listen to your heart. No. One day we'll get this right. And as always, big thank you to our sponsors and our helpers. So we've got All Good Oat Milk, 257 for the wonderful space. Sarah on photography today. She's been giving me a mini masterclass this morning on photography. I'm learning so much. Hype Entertainment, as well as Ethan. Is your thing's up here somewhere, isn't it? Somewhere. Full video. Faye is not here today, but we do have another live illustrator doing some work. Where are you? Oh, hiding down the back there. Libertine blends for our tea, Coffee Supreme to keep you caffeinated, Antipodes water, Fix and Flog, Nada Bakery for our gluten-free folks, as well as Wellington sourdough for the regular sourdough bread, Colourcraft for our labels, who hopefully will be doing us some posters in the new year as well. I know. Bad Baker for some cookies, and 6 Barrel Soda for our sleeker gifts. Shout out to my amazing volunteer crew who turn up ridiculously early, make toast, make coffee, set up chairs, all that jazz. Love them. And as Melinda said, if you're interested in helping out next year, flick me a message, flick Melinda a message, send us an email, and one of us will get back to you and tell us what you want to do. One thing to remember is field trips. So we're not having an event next month, December. But Creative Mornings has virtual global field trips that you can jump online and check out, and they range from all sorts of things. I saw there was one about burnout, which is really cool. So obviously burnout's not cool, but learning how to prevent burnout. So things like that. So they range in all sorts of things. Follow us on social media. Haven't updated the Twitter, refuse to. It's formerly known as Twitter. We're actually on there. I didn't know that until yesterday. And our hashtags for this month. And finally, without further ado, I will pass on to Marcus. So a big round of applause for Marcus.
Is this stereotype?
Sure, yes.
You just push the big button,
Big one.
not the top one. Yeah. And you point it that way, don't point it there. Yeah.
Kia ora everyone.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Ko me, ko ruahine ko te maunga. Ko maro atu te awa. Te pio aka ahau I awariki o ngā whenua o Ingarangi. O te mana me wiwi o Putipina. Ko Marcus Jackson tōku ingoa. O reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
True kia ora.
Rhythm. I have a difficult relationship with rhythm. I'm an artist, I'm a composer, I work a lot with sound, and still rhythm is always something that I kind of am challenged by. And in fact, a lot of the time it's something that I try to avoid as much as possible. And when I say that, I mean I avoid the kind of what first comes to mind when we talk about rhythm, which is, you know, the notes on a page, how different things are organized in time at a really kind of zoomed in micro level. But one thing that I found really helpful in my practice is to reshape the way that I think about rhythm. So instead of thinking about rhythm as the kind of, you know, claps in time and all of that kind of thing, I think of rhythm as a bounding box. So it's essentially a way to draw a circle around a collection of sounds and say these sounds have relation to one another. These sounds are given meaning by the fact that they are placed in context with one another. I think that's a really beautiful way of thinking, and that's certainly helped me kind of get over this impasse that I have with, I guess, what I was taught in music school about what rhythm it is, or what rhythm could be. So I guess off the back of that, I'd like to offer a couple of ways to think about rhythm, which will be hopefully helpful as we go into the performance that Christine mentioned today. I think you can think about rhythm as how often your attention is drawn to particular stimuli in your area. You know, doesn't have to be sound, it could be anything, but think about rhythm as the way that your attention is kind of dispersed to the things around you, how things are changing around you. Again, not necessarily sound, but just thinking about things that happen in the kind of like temporal, time-based scope. You could think about rhythm as the same as how often someone does the same thing as you, or conversely, how often you are in disagreement with what people are doing around you. And you can think about rhythm as, you know, how often you kind of recognize familiarity. So that kind of thinking about your memory and how often you are reminded of something, how often something comes back to you, that kind of reciprocity lens. That's kind of my, like, warm-up, I guess. These are the things perhaps it'll be good for you to bear in mind. Of course, there's myriad ways to think about how we relate to things in time. So those are just some suggestions, and I welcome you to kind of go out into the world and think about how time kind of works with you and works with your body and your memory and all of that kind of thing. So today, I'm really thrilled to be able to present this piece. I guess right up the top, it's a work in progress. This piece is, the title is obviously Like Some Kind of Residue. This is the third iteration of it. I presented it once as a solo performance at PlayStation Gallery, little artist-run gallery, directorial space.
Where is that?
It's in Wellington. It's just
Up the road.
up the road. Yeah.
In Willow Street.
In Willow Street. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
What's the name of the gallery?
A PlayStation Gallery. PlayStation. We have one of the original founders. Thanks to you.
Nice.
And I performed it up at the university as well, relatively recently, again as a solo experiment, a solo performance. But at its heart, this has been a piece that I've been thinking about for the better part of 5 years, and kind of thanks to Christine's impulse, have managed to actually find some time to like get it towards a space where I'm happy with it. So what it is, or what I'm presenting to you today, is essentially 6 minutes out of what will be a much larger work. But it's an opportunity for you to experiment with improvisation. I don't know how many people in the room are not musicians, but how many people have like music in their lives, like perform regularly? No, cool. Awesome, a couple, sweet. I think for those of you who don't perform or like kind of flex the musical muscle, this will be a really cool opportunity for you to kind of get in touch with your musical instinct. I think an instinct that we all have in us. It's just kind of waiting to be found out.
I guess it's how you define perform, isn't it?
Totally.
Because we, like, I've got 2 kids and we spend our lives with music on and dancing around the house.
Yeah, performing all the time.
Like dancing in the rain and doing things like that. So, you know?
Totally, 100%. And I think any performance is performance, whether it's public or private, doesn't matter, right? Like, that doesn't define. That's awesome, yeah. Finally, I think this is an opportunity to kind of weave a net. And I use a lot of this kind of like vague weave a net residue, like it was slime. These are all kind of like, these are all kind of ways that I like to think about music as not so much something that is like rigid, but that is flexible and that moves with the people around us. These are kind of, I guess these are the ideas that I'm really fascinated by, vagueness. Awesome. Didn't want to use the word rules, but that's where we landed. Some guidelines. Thank you. So as we go into the performance, just a couple of things I'd like you to be aware of, please. If you could have your phones on Do Not Disturb, that would be awesome, because we're going to have the sound up. And maybe you don't want to be reminded that there is a world out there sending you notifications. As well, turn your volume up. You don't need to do that now. You could do that once the performance starts, but sound is the primary component of this, so you will want to make sure that at some point, either now or pretty soon after the piece has started, that you turn your volume up. The way it's going to work is I'll display a QR code and a little URL underneath it as well. For those of you who have, does everyone have Chrome? I think everyone was kind of told about this. Yeah, cool, sweet. So, you kind of have 2 options. Use the QR code on the camera and get to make sure that it takes you to Chrome. Otherwise, open up the Chrome app, type the URL into the thing. The piece will begin as soon as you've typed the URL in, you hit load. What you're going to see is this little like pink square rectangle on your phone, and it's just going to start pulsating. I should also remind everyone that this is kind of, there is light, there is kind of like, if you have any kind of difficulty with the performance it's happening, you're welcome to leave just outside the, what do we call those? Curtains. Sorry.
And note, Laura, so hand up Laura.
Laura.
If you need to leave at any point during the performance, head to Laura and she will open the curtains and let you out. No questions asked, and you can go chill out, have some more toast.
Or coffee.
Or coffee. And at the end she'll also be opening those up, so you kind of make your way to Laura if you need to leave.
So the curtains will be closed, the lights will be taken down. It's going to be a pretty dark experience. Dark in terms of light, not dark in terms of... it will be quite a dark experience. Then once the curtains have been drawn back, that's an opportunity for you to turn your volume down and essentially turn off your phone. Within the record, if questions or anything, if anyone has any. How to interact. So once the page loads, perhaps I can demo it. Once the page loads, you just want to tap the screen. Anywhere on the screen, doesn't really matter. Tapping it will make a sound. That's kind of the beginning of the experience. The experience is going to last just 6 minutes. You only really have one choice to make throughout the performance, and that choice is totally yours. But it's when do you want to tap the screen again? And every time you tap the screen, you're making a conscious effort to change the sound that's coming out of your phone. You could think about that in relation to, everyone in the room is going to be making the same choices, but all together at different times for different reasons. All of that. Every time you tap, you're changing the sounds. That's the complete summary of what you have control over in this piece. A few suggestions about how to make decisions. Start slow, get a feel for kind of what's happening around you. Ultimately, tap it as much as you like. I suggest tapping it kind of once every 5 to 15 seconds, if not, just to keep your phone awake. Obviously, in future versions, we'll be figuring out a way to make sure the phone doesn't die, but have a little bit more work to do on most. Finally, listen to what's around you. Listen to yourself. Making rhythm choices. That's right. So these are a couple of things that you could bear in mind. One of my impulses telling me is it saying, tap the screen, change the sound. What feels right now? What are others doing around me? So it's definitely like a collective listening experience. So just as a reminder, the next slide is the QR code that will also have the URL in it. I suggest you use the URL. I think it's easier, it's a little bit clearer, you have a little bit more control. But as soon as you hit go, turn up your volume, tap the screen, and the performance will start. Would anyone like me to show kind of vaguely how this works first?
And do you want us to get rid of drink bottles and
Yeah, if it's
food?
I think we can use sort of this space here to dominate.
Yeah, if everyone's happy to, we can kind of stand up and all be a little bit in it together. If you're comfortable with that, if you're not comfortable with that, totally fine. Sit on one of the outer. Here we go. It will be a little bit dark, but we're going to turn this off as well. Is everyone all good? Has everyone managed to find the link? Yep. Just sing out if you haven't. You're welcome to move around a bit, of course.
Is everyone ready for me to turn the subject on? Andy. If I pull this, it's just going to show you. I want to turn that off.
Yeah, that was really awesome.
It was so meditative.
I know.
I was like, just kind of like.
It's almost like being in a church.
In a church,
Like,
yeah. It does
like-
sound like that, yeah.
But like in a good, like
Totally,
just
yeah.
how you like where it takes you.
Yeah. Thanks very much, everyone. Excellent.
It's the third iteration of it. How was this different from the first couple? How do you feel?
I think this is the best version so far. It's the version that I'm happiest with. I think this is what it was always supposed to be. It's supposed to be like a collective experience, and just like figuring out exactly how that kind of collectiveness works was the hardest part. But I think this is more what it was supposed to feel like. It was like this kind of like everyone is kind of, we're all kind of stuck together in this context, and we're all kind of working off one another. Yeah.
I can just imagine your so there's this work in Te Papa toy, whatever it is, the art at the moment that's incredible. It's got seaweed hanging up, and then he has like joined lights into it and things like that, and I can picture that like interacting in that space.
Cool.
Like you just like you cogs turn.
There's a connection there. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a little bit of that kind of like soundscape-ness at the end, right? That a little bit of like, there's like 30 seconds of what is like ocean noise. It's not ocean noise. It's just like a noise filter that's like pulsating essentially. But I think at its heart, this piece initially was about kind of like nostalgia and trying to like put that into a kind of experience. So like the first version had like rose petals. Like I had my pockets stuffed with rose petals, and I had rose water that I spritzed while I did the performance. So it was getting spritzed, and then it ended with like an orange being peeled, and then just like smashed across the ground really slowly. So it was this kind of like whole, ultra sensory thing about like memories and where they come from, and trying to kind of pull everything into this one space. Yeah.
Out of curiosity, is it the way that it works? Is it that like everyone that's on the website, it kind of collects all the users? Oh, I don't know how to explain it. Like all the users together, and then it affects sound on other people's phone as well. Or I was trying to like kind of listen, or is it just your phone?
It's purely you.
Yeah.
I wanted to keep the decision making as like essentially as small as possible.
Yeah.
So it's like I want it to be like kind of you're an island in this space, and you make the choices that are happening here, and there's nothing. So everyone else is essentially like placed in an island like yours, and you all kind of get to make whatever decisions we want. Yeah. It'd be nice to do some like, everyone kind of together in this space. That's probably like a bit of a technical challenge for me. Maybe something to think about for the future.
Do you have any other like, in terms of like the physical performance and like the different acoustic qualities, do you have any like spaces that you'd really like to test it? And also, is there like a critical mass of people that you think are needed? Having been part of the earlier tests.
Having done the earlier tests. I think we approach critical mass here. I think too many people becomes too much of a wash, but I think it's more about the number of people in this space. So I think that like the little kind of space that we'd carved out for ourselves here was really, like, worked really well. And kind of, you had enough ability to kind of pass by outlets and all of that. But I think you want a small space, you want a low ceiling, you want the sound to go out into the ether. And I think there's probably a little bit of like kind of artistic work to be done on like just kind of solidifying and sound a little bit more. Maybe bringing it up. It's funny how like you could test something for weeks yourself and be like, oh, this is really loud. And then the first thing when I tested it here was like, oh god, it's so quiet. So I think, it's awesome to get to test things. And again, thank you so much for kind of allowing me the opportunity to test this. You don't often get to test an actual performance, much less with like live people who you don't know it. Yeah.
So we recorded it today?
I think we've got
Cameras were going.
It's a bit dark.
No, I just mean in terms of the sound. I don't mind the potential. Sorry, no, I do love you all. But
So hopefully
Yeah, we'll get some
it's
of it.
fun for
Yeah.
I'd just love to kind of,
Yeah.
hear it like removed from
Yeah.
being in it.
Outside of it, yeah. I think another version of it would be beautiful if you had like, as I thought it was earlier, but a great idea. But because like you can do these kind of, you can place essentially a microphone on either side of your ear, and if it points out in the right way, and what it picks up is the way that you hear things, and it's like that's what binaural is. So you might have heard of like binaural beats or
What
something.
did you say, sorry?
Binaural. So I think I missed that in there, right? Yeah. And that gives you this kind of sense of like also where things are in the space related to you. It gives that kind of filtering to act like your ears. So I think that would be really cool to do a future version of it. I think one thing that's just popped into my mind that I'd really like to share with you, as kind of like further listening if you're interested. There's a piece called A Wave and Waves by Michael Desaro. He's a Berkeley professor, I think. And he made this.
Can you spell that?
Sure. Pisaro.
Pisaro.
And he, this piece is like an hour long. It's for 100 performers, 100 percussionists specifically, and they all play live. And it's not necessarily the inspiration, but I did come across this piece.
What was the name of it?
A Wave and Waves. But I did come across the piece kind of after the first few versions. And I think it's a really beautiful example of this kind of like collective performance as well. It is an hour long. It's wildly quiet. Like, he's part of this group that only do quiet music. And when I mean quiet, I mean like edge of audibility quiet. So it's like maybe like 11 p.m., 1 a.m. kind of listen in your headphones kind of experience. But it is beautiful if you ever have the time for it. Yeah. Any other questions?
Awesome.
Fabulous.
Well, round of applause for Marcus. That was just magic. I really enjoyed that. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks, everyone.
Very cool. So our next event is in end of January, and so you'll see details pop up in January about that. In the interim, tell other people about us, and yeah, we look forward to seeing you all in the new year. Happy holidays!
Happy holidays. Thank you.
Awesome.